So at the moment I'm recording this, it's been an entire month since I last posted anything to YouTube. And you might be wondering, man, what's the deal? Are you alright? Did something happen? Did you die? Well, you're probably not wondering anything and just forgot about me, but I'm gonna tell you the story anyway. So about a month ago, I posted this video, which is basically a 3-second clip of some wave breaking against a tower or something. And you might be thinking, well, that's a fun little animation you spent like an afternoon on. This video is the culmination of 2 years of me trying to make a single effect work on Blender and getting kicked on the balls by the Blender particle system and instancing system in general again and again and again until I was left completely sterile. Like, I can't have babies anymore because of this, okay? So it's a fucking serious issue, alright? You can see for my Mentaflow tricks video just how hard I was trying. It wasn't that many particles. Basically, my cap max limit before the system gets finicky is about like 6 million particles. Instancing the like least amount of geometry possible, I got like at least 3 crashes per frame until I could finally render it, and the next frame Blender crashes 3 times and I render it again, and it's not even like rendering animation or again, it's just rendering a bunch of still images. And so I posted this video to whine about why Blender doesn't have another system. It's just completely unreasonable to instance with this like archaic system. And basically, I posted the video, and then I went into the comment sections immediately, waiting for the good validation from experience of other Blender users telling me the particle system was trash. And instead, I didn't see it. Uh-oh. So it turns out, Blender had point cloud rendering for at least a couple months already. And the one being unreasonable was me. So immediately I paused everything I was doing, including all my future big projects, because all of them involved simulations, and I started doing what I do best. Was it cool animations? Was it speaking into the microphone and making funny haha jokes for YouTube? Also no. Is it my delicious and totally healthy cooking skills? Also not. My specialty, of course, is spending unreasonable amounts of time making increasingly more demanding simulations, which will inevitably result in a lot of unappealing, unsexy, unusable footage of water moving around, which also has the added side effect of creating and deleting so much useless files every day that it will inevitably lead to another critical hard drive failure, forcing me to get a new drive and distro hop again. But don't worry, because this time, I had a backup. Sort of. So, what did I learn for all those tests? Not much. Yeah, I just learned like 2 things. First, I can do about double the amount of particles, sometimes a little bit more than what I was doing before with instancing geometry. The second thing I learned is that it does not currently support neither motion blur or vector blur yet. Hopefully in the future it gets like at least vector blur support. I know it's not actually instancing anything real there, it's just like a mathematical sphere. I don't know. Yeah, it gets you more performance. So how do you use it? Let's get into the tutorial part of this video. It's simple. You get your Multiverse mesh, you bake your particles. Unfortunately, there is not a way to render as geometry nodes points in the particle systems tab itself, so instead you will need to do a workaround by using geometry nodes into another object. So basically, you create a single vertex object. You can do it with Shift-8, add mesh single vert if you have the extra objects add-on. If you don't have it, you can just, I don't know, create a plane and then merge everything into one vertex in the center. Then go to the modifiers tab of this this single vertex mesh you created. Make sure it's on the origin of your world. You don't want to like move it around. Make sure its origin is consistent with where the vertex actually is. And then you can go to the modifiers tab and add a particle instance modifier. Select the domain object, and then you're gonna have a list of particle systems you can pick and choose. I find it's better to just duplicate the single vertex object and name it as the different type of particle you want, so you can have separate materials for your bubbles, your foam, and your spray particles. And then go to the geometry nodes tab, workspace, whatever it is, add a new geometry nodes thing, I don't know how to call it. You just need to add a mesh to points node and you're done. Now every vertex that is instanced through the particle instance modifier is going to show up as a geometry nodes point. Having this set up in geometry nodes immediately opens a million possibilities. First thing, you can duplicate the number of particles by just duplicating the node and offsetting them, and boom, you have twice as many particles. You can control the selection or the size of your particle. You can just place your particles based on the attributes of the domain object. You can make particles bigger or smaller depending on like geometry attributes or geometry proximity or whatever you want. You can do fractals by doing a node loop, but I'm not a geometry nodes Andy, so I don't have a minimal idea how to do it. I just know it's possible because I have seen people use geometry nodes in such ways, and I'm assuming this also works with points. And also, this solves one of the biggest issues I have with MentaFlow, that is the square patterning thing that kills me every time. The square patterning thing is like an artifact that happens when you don't have enough time steps, or like when you don't have high enough settings for your simulations. But when you do actually increase the quality of the settings, the simulation takes ages to do, and nobody wants that. So you can instead simulate at a lower resolution or lower quality and deal with the square patterns by just duplicating things around and like displacing them in random directions a little bit, jiggling them so the squares are not as visible. Yeah, you can also increase the number of particles afterwards. So if you are working on something where it's more important to have more particles and it's not very important to have like a very high resolution mesh or even a high resolution simulation, you just need a bunch of particles in a waterfall situation or in just like a very rapid current. Nobody's gonna actually follow all the directions where water is going. You can just do a low resolution simulation and then just duplicate the points. And finally, Luna Pictures. Thank you. I love you. Thank you for letting me know that this thing existed. You saved probably like 20 years of my life that I would keep spending trying to figure out particle systems until like 20 years from now, Blender devs actually create like geometry node particle system that they're trying to do since 2.8. Yeah, and since this is still the shout out video to Luna Pictures, thank you. Go subscribe to their channel. Come on. They not even saved my channel, but they're also working in not one, but two real-time simulation engines or algorithms or whatever they could end up being implemented in Blender, thinking about real-time smoke simulation and real-time flip fluid simulation. This person is doing it themselves. It's fucking cool. They're not being paid to do this. They just want to do it. So go subscribe to their channel so they can monetize it, please. If you take anything from this video is Luna Pictures is awesome. And yeah, I've been an entire month waiting for simulations to finish while listening to like Amber Heard whatever trial and the quantum TV controversy. Yeah, that was a great month of my life. God damn it. I promise I will not disappear again. I'll try to not disappear again, working on my next project and on my next video and whatever. And I'll try to keep you like at least a little bit updated from now on, because, you know, there's like almost 10,000 subscribers to this channel. And I'm disappointing literally every one of them every time I post a video. Yeah, expect something done somewhat soon. I don't know. Bye.